right, time to take out the trash, the street trash. Let's get rid of it. I mean, it's a good idea, right? Well, maybe not if that street trash is people. I mean, that's kind of harsh. But that's a little bit about what we have here. But let's find out exactly, starting with the IMDb plot. A group of homeless misfits must fight for survival when they discover a plot to exterminate every homeless person in the city. So, yeah, see, so maybe it's not a good idea. I mean, cleaning up, regular garbage is good. People, I mean, they need a place to live too, but that's a political argument for another place and time. But it is also kind of included here in this one. So, this is a new movie. I think it had a limited release, and it is also on Screambox. Said that right? Screambox. I think it was supposed to come out before. I guess they delayed it. But it is eventually now out for those to see. And I believe this one is a sequel to a previous version. I will say that I've not seen that, so this will not be a review mentioning much of the original movie. I don't really remember that movie. So this is going to be a review basically of just this movie and what happens here. I don't know if I missed anything by not seeing the other movie or whatever. I don't know. So I'm just going to take everything in the hands of this movie. And I will try to keep it spoiler free. I don't know that there's many twists and turns. Pretty, straightforward here with what is going on. I will also mention that this movie is done by Ryan Kruger, who a couple of years ago did Fried Berry, which I'm a big fan of that movie. Really love that movie. I'm pretty sure that was one of my top movies a couple of years ago when that film came out. The guy who plays Barry in that movie is in this movie. He plays a character here too. And obviously he does a very interesting job here as well. He played two similar but different characters, very interestingly enough. But yeah, so kind of get all that out of the way. So what do we have here? Obviously, a kind of a different time period, different area, make-believe city or whatever. You have some people who are kind of in control and are trying to get rid of the homeless people, get rid of the people who don't really belong and are no longer wanted. But as opposed to just going by it in a nice manner, they're basically trying to do experimentations and mutations and stuff to kind of mess with people and try to get that to end the homeless situation here in this city. So early on, you get a fun chase scene to kind of give you an introduction to some of the characters and what is happening. One of the main characters in that chase scene is later going to rescue a woman and bring her into their little group. This little group of people who are homeless people who are trying to survive on their own and kind of set in their own ways. Some very unique characters, I'll say that, in what they have in their thoughts and so forth. So unique characters, let's just say that. And then you have, of course, the bad, powerful people here that, again, are going about these experiments. Whatever you're going to see in experiments early on doesn't really work great, ends up kind of melting the person. But in a way, that's kind of what they want to. So it is about, the bad people eventually slowly kind of introducing this experimental, way of getting rid of the people that they don't want onto those people. So you have, those two major groups. I think there's one other group everybody kind of vying for power, and maybe getting along and not getting along. This one other group wanted this young woman that kind of fell in with this other group, and that causes kind of a tension in between them as well. And then obviously, the chase scene at the beginning kind of sparks more tension between the powerful people that are running the city and these homeless people that are outside and trying to just survive. So you kind of have that kind of dynamic going on. I'm not sure that's the best way to explain it, but that's the simplest way I can think of. I think at the end of the day, obviously, if you don't know much about it, like I didn't know much about it, and whether you've seen the first one or not, but you see this poster, obviously it's bright, got a lot of color to it, and obviously shows someone kind of melting. And I think at the end of the day, that's one of the things that this movie comes down to, is the special effects and watching these people melt. That's really the fun part of the movie. And I guess you can have all the plots and have this and that and story and whatever that they try to interject into it. But at the end of the day, for me at least, it was really just watching these people kind of just melt and eyes pop and just disintegrate in different ways. And yeah, so to me it is basically that. And then like I said, you do have an interesting group of homeless characters here. Like I said, the one guy who was in Fried Berry, he kind of sees this alien, and he's primarily the only one who can see him, and I think at one point later on maybe somebody else can kind of see him, but he kind of is the only one that kind of interacts with him. The alien is kind of funny in its own right. As I kind of watched that, I kind of thought, is he really playing the alien thing with Fried Berry? Is there a connection here? I don't know, maybe we'll find out at some time. Or is he just being the same awkward kind of character? You have the one who's kind of the leader of the group, but is always getting in trouble. The chase scene is a good kind of opening to it. It's pretty funny chase scene as he's running around. You would completely expect him to be caught, but he obviously isn't. Kind of opens the door for other stuff later on, but that ended up being a funny thing as well. Another character that keeps referencing another movie, and I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it's funny that they're having this conversation. He's explaining this movie that we all know, and I cannot think of the name of the movie at the time, or what movie they were talking about. Now that I'm here doing this review. But I think it's funny how, as the movie goes on, they just keep going back to the movie and talking about it, and their view on this movie and opinions. I think, that's a little bit funny as well. But at the end of the day, again, when they're having these times and so forth, I don't know, it listed here just as horror. I think there's an element of comedy they were trying to have it in, with the character design, with some of the conversations. But I don't know. I just didn't really get into anything more in the movie besides, some of the characters and just the awkwardness of them. I think you will maybe like some of them and maybe not. But again, it's just really the goriness of it, the melting of the people. You maybe want more from a film, or maybe that's all you want from a film. That I'm into the blood and guts of the thing, so I really didn't have a problem with it. It is a lot of practical effects too, so it wasn't like they were trying to be cheap with it either. You see a lot of times, like the eyes popping out, and so forth. So if you're kind of okay with that, that's the kind of stuff you like, maybe you'll enjoy it. They tried, some of it seemed a little similar at times. Other times they tried to do it in a different way. Obviously, a lot of craziness happens in the final act. I don't really want to go too much into that and what happens and what's going on there. But obviously sets up for, more deaths, some melting and away and whatever. And I don't know what I expected from the movie. Obviously, like I said, you see the poster, you see the melting or whatever. I got the melting or whatever, so that was great. Loved all those moments. Don't know that the movie offered, too much more. Obviously, there is a plot there. There's things going on. If you want to call it a statement also on homelessness and what to do with them, whatever, wrapped up in a horror movie. I mean, you can kind of see that as well. So if you want to have that as a takeaway from the movie. But yeah, I think to me, that's, basically what the movie boiled down to. Some, odd characters, whether you like them or not, their interaction, and then the melting. Everything else, was what it was. So with that, I'm a little bit split. Like I liked it. Maybe was hoping I would really like it. Kind of, like I liked Friday, but obviously like that much more. But didn't hate it. I thought it gave enough. So I think with that, I'm kind of split here, and I'm going to give it a 2.5 pools of blood. Kind of down the middle here, and that is out of 5. So I guess that's the best way I can explain to go here with it. So obviously, if I missed something in connection with the previous movie, maybe there's more to it, and whatever. I don't know. But, for me, this is where it is for this one. So, again, that's 2.5 pools of blood out of 5. So, horrorsgorereviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all of my reviews written in video. Certainly tons of video reviews, so you can like, subscribe, and do everything else that everybody wants you to do here on YouTube. But if not, no worries. It is okay. I truly appreciate your time regardless. Twitter, Facebook, information down below. Feel free to join me there. Talk about this movie, other movies, horror in general. And down in the comment section, your thoughts on this movie, of course. If you want to fill me on what I may have missed in the previous movie and any connection there, feel free to do so. Always looking for help if I'm wrong in talking about these movies at any time. Please feel free to let me know. So with that, I guess I'll catch you in the next review, horror fans.